Every project begins with a question. Our question was, what changes when we do not merely hear one another, but truly listen? What becomes visible when a body enters a space, a gesture is noticed, and one sound meets another?
È un po' esatto il ruolo di potere che era un po' lei, questo potere qua.
And no one rushes to fill the silence? TheoMusic began at this threshold with one intention: to create spaces where people can recognize oppression, recover expression, and imagine change together.
Un pensiero del tuo personaggio in questo momento. O solo mio, un pensiero. Un pensiero.
Theater would give the experience a body, music would give it vibration, deep listening would give it depth. The project brought together two complementary partners. MUS-E Cyprus, the coordinator, contributed its experience in music, intercultural education, and listening.
That is the combination between two artistic means. One is theater, theater of the oppressed, maybe you heard it, or I don't know, and the other one is music. So we try.
Jolly Cooperativa brought more than 30 years of theater of the oppressed practice. Roberto Mazzini, trainer, practitioner, and Italian translator of several works by Augusto Boal, helped open the first seminar, Theater of the Oppressed, Voices from Italy and Palestine.
Okay, I'm Roberto Mazzini. I was saying I'm member of Jolly Cooperative. That is a very small organization, 10 of people, more or less. We are working as association first and then as a cooperative since 30 years to fight against different kinds of oppression.
This was not theory at a distance. Hamed Tobashi and Nur Shehaheh brought Palestinian perspectives into the room, alongside Ioana Popescu and Ilaria Olimpico.
They can fight back, address issues without getting in the same technique or circle of the oppressors. And for me, that was the most important, my experience in Palestine through the last 4 or 5 years. Under all of these invasions, attacks, I was feeling so angry. I was feeling I want to do something. I want to react. But the idea is I will not do what the oppressor want me to do, because I want to fight in a different way. I want to find a way to express myself, not repeating the way of the oppressor want me to react, which is violent, crazy, and being like a terrorist, for example, because that's what they want you to act, to be terrorist. And for sure, they don't want us to use these beautiful ways to express, to fight. And you know, as a Palestinian, grow up in Jenin camp, first Intifada, live second Intifada. Now I'm living third Intifada. I always was obsessed. How can I present myself to the world in the right way? And for me, that's what is resistance. Resistance is not to give up for the oppressor technique and you react in the way they want you to react. And for me, I believe that art and theater and culture is the most important way to resist and fight back. So for me, I was dreaming how I can reach the world, how I can talk to the world a language that they understand. I'm talking about before 7th of October, because before 7th of October, all the Palestinian artists wasn't giving a freedom to talk about themselves. We didn't have a big chance to present our work. We were censored, and you know that the Zionist movement was controlling most of the theaters, festivals, whatever. And for us was really very important how we can present ourselves as a Palestinian artist. You know, before art, I was looking to fight, demonstrate, being angry, and always they telling me, you are sick, you need therapy, you need hospital. But when I understood that how art and theater can bring you in a different form from the people, now people call me artist, they pay my ticket, they come to the show and they listen to me 1 hour and a half, is because I turned and I understood how to use theater to fight and to resist. And for me, sorry, I'm not doing art. I'm not doing a specific way of art. I believe I am resisting through theater and art. I want to fight. I want to embarrass. I want to tell my story as long as I can. The point, it's not to die. The point to stay alive as long as you can and you tell your story. And that's what I got. I lost my old friends in the first intifada, second intifada. And for me, that was the most important point when I was in prison. I got 4 years in prison and I was young, full of energy, and I didn't know what to do. I see many prisoners get depressed. Many prisoners have psychology problems. And then I said, okay, Tobasi, maybe we start to do theater in the prison. I want to cheer up these people. And then we start to make events in the prison. And, you know, it's become a monthly and weekly event each Friday or each Thursday or each prison leave from the prison. We make a party to say bye-bye. And after that, someone filmed the sketch and we try to sneak it out because we are not allowed to have families visiting us or visitors. So we try to sneak out the SIM card to Gaza. And in Gaza, in that time, they made a CD to bring it back to prison, to send it to West Bank, because there is no connection between West Bank and Gaza. So the way was to send in the CD inside the prison, and next visit, we send it to West Bank so people can see us, our families, see us in prison, that we are happy, we're living a good life. And in the way inside, the soldiers catch the CD, and they brought the CD to the warden, and the warden saw the CD and he was crazy. Is this in my prison? You know, we have party, costume, we do songs, we do some sketches. And, you know, in the night, all these soldiers came to look for this phone, and it was hundreds of soldiers looking for this sketch, who made the sketch, who made the film. And in that moment, I felt victory. I felt victory, like I spent my time to fight the Israelis, the Zionists. I never felt this victory. And in that moment, I was in shock, all this drama, because a little sketch. And for me, that was the point, made me believe in the power of art and power of culture. Today, I think, as you see in the world, after all this, what is happening in Gaza and the genocide, that the Palestinian artist, the Palestinian cause being well known by poetry, actors, theaters, writers. And for me, we should bring back the importance for art and theater. Is not something romantic, it's not something cool, it's dangerous. Theater should be dangerous. Theater is very dangerous. If you feel comfortable, if you feel cool in what you do, I think you should think about it again, because art come to put questions marks, to highlight a specific issues in the community. And we need to bring back the value of community work, because after all these years, we start to deal with community work as something not important or something a low profile. But I believe the community work is the most important thing, and we should bring the value of it, that it should be important. And most important is to create this kind of tools for young people to use art and theater to resist, to fight, and to express. Today, we call a new group, we made it artist on the front line, because I believe artist is the most important. They are the censor of the community, they are the censor of the culture, and they are the ones who understand to address issues in the community to find solution. Maybe solution, maybe to work together with different people to ask the question so people can think about it. So yes, that's where I come from. I think the theater can kill you, and that's what you expect. For me, if I feel so comfortable, I think there is some issue and problem. But with theater, it gave me the voice to fight and not be shy of who I am, where I come from, and give me a very strong tool to present myself and my case. Thank you.
Ahmed Tobashi is a Palestinian actor, director, and educator from the Jenin refugee camp. For him, theater is a form of cultural resistance. He's currently part of the Artists on the Front Line, an award-winning company using arts and cultural resistance. In one unforgettable moment, a Palestinian participant who had joined from his village had to leave because house demolitions were taking place nearby. The reality of oppression entered the shared screen with devastating immediacy.
I want to ask you if I can speak because I have emergency things. I am now in Jenin. I want to leave to Karim direct because the Israeli army they started to demolish my houses. And urgent, I want to leave to Karim.
The second seminar, led by MUS-E Cyprus, entered through the art of listening. Teresa Dello Monaco and Paolo Cremona welcomed Daniel Levy, internationally renowned pianist, researcher, author, educator, and founder of the International Academy of Euphony. His concept of humanistic listening deepened the inquiry, listening to words, silence, tone, gesture, and action is a practice for communication, empathy, and conflict resolution. The questions were open. Now they needed bodies, movement, and sound. In Italy, the 3-day training brought the work into the room. Theater of the Oppressed practices started to merge with music improvisation and deep listening practices. Games created a group from many individuals. The stages of the Theater of the Oppressed were visited and experienced. Participants shaped images with their bodies, examining distance, posture, power, and resistance.
Da 0 a 10, tu quanto? Esattamente.
Vorrei vedere più sbalzi di volume.
Quanto? E quanto?
Vorrei meno sax, più violino.
Gradually, situation recognized from life emerged. Theater of the oppressed asks what is happening, who benefits, who is silenced, and where change might begin. Once the knot is found, the stage becomes a place to test possibilities. A scene can stop, a different action can enter, a spectator can become a spect-actor. The group rehearses reality, learning from each attempt and discovering that a collective response may exist where isolation once seemed inevitable.
Sono stati incrociati per ieri sera in Palestina. I think that if we do it together. Sono stati bruciati per le 3 morti da ieri sera in Palestina. I think you are the one for me. And if you do it right, we can die for deeper into our Sono stati bruciati per le 5 morti. I think you are the one. If you give me just another chance. And no, così non è possibile. Sono stati 243 morti da ieri sera in Palestina. E la situazione si fa sempre più grave. I think you are the one for me. If you give me just one more chance, just think that if you tell, you can move from the ground. Perché
Scusa, ci porti 2 minuti per favore?
pregiato è la cosa più importante che si possa dire. Ma che c'è?
La metti via sto
Sì, ma non è possibile, perché in questo mondo, poi, se si continua in questo modo, la sporcizia.
sempre io dobbiamo parlare di una cosa importante.
2 ore e 35 per un paradiso.
Scusa cameriere, il menù per favore.
Infine, ecco.
In Cyprus, the exploration continued in another 3-day intensive training, bringing forward the experimentation. As listening entered more deeply, the scene changed from within. Participants listened with the whole body to themselves, to others, to the room, and to the tension inside the situation. Radical music improvisation invited sound without demanding virtuosity. A breath, a pulse, a voice, an object, a silence, each could enter a shared composition. Music did not decorate the theater, it revealed currents that words alone could miss. It made hesitation audible, gave conflict a rhythm, and allowed different truths to coexist.
And then we amplify our movements. Must be very
Theater, music, and listening were no longer separated methods. They were becoming one practice, more sensitive, embodied, and able to reach beneath the surface of oppression.
Whatever.
Try to synchronize, to go together, try to go together, even if different speeds, but try to connect. Not easy, but try, the exploration. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And titles. What arrived to you?
It doesn't finish like this.
Okay, what else? Other possibilities.
Help.
Okay. Other possibilities.
A happy life.
Happy life. Ironically. What kind of oppression can be inside?
Somebody's crying for help.
What kind of oppression can be?
Another rush hour in Limassol.
Another?
Rush hour. What I miss Limassol.
Last one?
Breath of air.
Okay, right of that. Dynamization. So start the movement, exploring the possibilities, go. And try to synchronize and to find the repeated movement. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Thank you very much.
The experience now had to become shareable. The partners shaped the questions, exercises, cautions, and discoveries of the training into the TheoMusic toolkit. In Cyprus and Italy, piloting groups tested the activities. Adult educators, artists, social workers, volunteers, community practitioners, and migrants brought their knowledge to the process, helping refine the resource. Multiplier events opened the practice to wider circles. Available freely in English, Greek, and Italian, the toolkit was designed to travel from one educator to another, from one community to the next, offering guidance while preserving the freedom to adapt. Network and Jolly Co, which is one of the most important center in Italy for the theater of the oppressed, and Roberto Mazzini is one of the translators of works by Boal. And the center has a long history of theater of the oppressed and activities. They run annual courses and they're very, very active. MUS-E is active in deep listening, but is acting also is active in all the range of artists in education, artists for culture, artists for change. I pass the word to Julia, who will introduce the resources, because we have several interesting resources just available for anyone with an interest, for social workers, volunteers, educators, adult educators, a lot of target groups, especially those working with migrants, refugees, asylum seekers, and oppressed communities in general. Thank you, Julia.
And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Giulia Nitabari, and I'm a violinist, and I'm working with Jolly cooperative in Italy. But first, thank you all for being here with us today. I would like just to take a few minutes to guide you through the process that led us to this conference and to introduce you the final toolkit that we developed together. I would like to underline that the toolkit is the result of a really collaborative journey shaped through a series of activities, exchanges, and experiences, so real experiences with people, with teachers, with activists, with musicians. And we began with 2 online theoretical seminars. The first one focused on theater, or the first one about deep listening, and the second one about theater the oppressed, but with a specific topic, because we invited Hamed, that was part of Freedom Theater in Palestine. So we open our journey with this window on Palestinian situation, and it was a very important meeting, I think, for all of us, and you will find it in our website. I think it's very interesting to see it, because it was the war was going on, and he was trying to explain us about the activities of the Freedom Theater in Palestine. So very heartbreaking moment, I think, for all of us. Following these initial moments of reflection and learning, we organized some in-person training session in Cyprus and in Italy. And these trainings were followed by other meetings and opportunities of exchanges. And these live meetings with teachers, actors, musicians, activists, artists were essential in shaping the practices you will find in the toolkit. So the toolkit does not come from a purely theoretical approach, but from a real and shared process. And for us, it's very important to underline this. In particular, during the training, we try to explore and better understand how music and theater of the oppressed could be combined. And as musicians, we discovered that practice that connected most naturally and effectively with this process was radical music improvisation. You will find a small chapter about radical music improvisation in the toolkit, but just to give you a few words about this practice, radical music improvisation is an open and collective creative practice based on listening and interaction between participants. But unlike traditional musical structures, it does not rely on fixed rules, scores. Instead, encourage participants to explore sounds, silence, movements, communication in a very free and inclusive way. And I think that this kind of musical practice really can fit very well with the theater of the oppressed, and also, of course, deep listening, as they are very well connected. So I would like just to show you briefly the toolkit that you will also receive, and you can also download from our website. I will show a second my screen.
C'è un pulsante verde con scritto share, o in basso o in alto, non so dove.
Ah, okay, now I can see it. Perfetto. And here we are. So, of course, you will find a table of contents So there is, I think I will show you directly because it's also very beautiful. So I would like also to thanks Paolo for this really colorful and amazing design of the toolkit. It's very nice. So you will find an introduction, of course, to an introduction to the process, to the project, to the process, and to the other content that you will find in it. You will find also some drawings of Silvia that we will meet later, an artist that's participated to the trainings. So you will find, yes, a small introduction about the process that I told you before, the days of trainings together, and so on. But overall, you will find an introduction to Theatre of the Oppressed with a very interesting also like historical background of this technique. Of course, you will find a summary. So we encourage you also to discover more with books and videos and so on. And of course, the guiding principles, but I think that Roberto later will explore more this part of introduction about Theatre of the Oppressed, about deep listening.
Of representation of the method. So the first meaning is Theatre of the Oppressed is not a died method, is a living method, like a tree that is evolving, is growing, is developing different branches. And that was the story, the history of Theatre of the Oppressed. He was born with simple techniques, with peasants. And then anytime that Boal and his groups faced different challenges, other techniques were developed, like image theater, forum theater, rainbow of desire, newspaper theater, legislative theater, invisible theater, and so on. What are the aims? What the Theatre of the Oppressed wants to achieve? There are three main aims. One is the analysis and transformation of the world. So the task of Theatre of the Oppressed is not just simply to testimony, to witness, not to say this is the world, this is a pity, but this is the world. But the ambition is to transform it. The second is to give him back the means of theatrical production. Maybe some of you that is older, old as me, have a memory about this kind of sentence, no? To give back to the people the means of production. In this case, is the theatrical production, not the production in a strict sense. But the idea was not to use the theater of the oppressed as a ideological tool to convince people about an idea, about a strategy, about something that you own, but it was a kind of the idea behind was to give the tools for people, for oppressed groups, to liberate themselves by their own, without expecting the leader, the ideologist, the theoreticians, the people that can guide oppressed people to liberation. And the third aim is to transform the spectator, that is a quite passive observer, a person that is observing something happening, like in the life when we are passive and we observe the life coming and going on without intervening, without transforming it. But the idea, the challenge is to transform the spectator into a spectator, someone that is able to do both, not to observe the reality, but also to act in order to transform it. This is again another kind of tree, as you see, and the basics of this is ethics and solidarity is in red. They are marked in red because they are very important. They are characterizing the theater of the oppressed. No, you are not doing theater of the oppressed just because you are using some techniques from it, but because you are doing theater in this direction, no? Based on ethics and solidarity. That means to stand on the side of the oppressed groups in order to help them, to provide them with tools for their liberation, not to liberate themselves in their name, but to provide tools, to provide instruments with people to help them to liberate by themselves. So the goals is to bring people, no, to stimulate people, oppressed groups, by doing theater, to have a collective and concrete social action. So not to make a catharsis, not to make a catharsis in the same laboratory, in the same workshop of theater, no, to liberate people in the workshop, but to do something in the workshop, in the theatrical workshop, in order to push people to act outside, to create some action outside, some social change collectively. And the key words is dynamization. It's not, it's not catharsis, but this dynamization. Dynamize people, activate the will to change the reality. This is another way of describe the theater of the past by a tree. You see the same more or less contents, but in a different aspect. Key concept, there are many key concepts, but I would like just to go briefly in some of them. So it's not non-ideological political theater. That means, it's a theater first. It's a political theater because it's standing, no? It's taking action. It's taking a position, but not ideological because theater of the press in the idea of Boal is important not because it brings an ideology, but because it's activating people to reflect about their own reality and to understand the exploration of all the arts in order to create another narrative from the point of view of the oppressed groups and not from the point of view of the industry of the arts, the artistic industry. Then here there are the four of the possible field application on the field. That is a social field, for instance, where it's possible to work with inmates, psychiatric patients, young people, poor people in neighborhoods, and so on. It's possible to work with in the health system with professionals and the operation of doctors and nurses and so on. It's possible to prevent risk behaviors at school, making intervention, forum theater plays for students, courses for parents, teachers, and so on. And there is also a side for political action using different techniques in participatory projects and more. This list is not exhaustive. This is a list, minimal list about the groups, very important groups in the world doing theater of the press. So you can see Brazil, where theater of the press was created, but also India, Scotland, Spain, UK, USA, and so on. And finally, to close this presentation, four different sentences from Wall, The Body Thinks, I already explained. One funny one can be, everyone can make theater, even actors. It's possible to make theater everywhere, even in theater. The third was pronounced by Boal a few months before dying in the presentation of the International Worldwide Day for Theater, where he had a speech and finally he said that to be a citizen is not to be part of society, but to transform it. And the last one is in Brazilian, ter coragem de ser feliz, means have the courage to be happy. It was a slogan applied during his campaign for being elected as political representative in the local council of Rio de Janeiro in the 90s, where he developed the legislative theater process I mentioned. So this is a short presentation. I hope it has inspired you to desire to know more, because I like very much Theatre de Press that was used in this project, but connected with the other two approaches by music, coming from another field, artistic field as music. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Roberto. It was very exhaustive and very clear. Thank you. We have now Silvia Borvotto. She's a researcher, semiotics of biocultures, arts and the body, University of Turin. And she will tell us about the experience of the theater of the oppressed between body and sound. Thank you very much,
Good
Silvia.
afternoon to everybody, and thank you, Teresa. I'm very happy to be here, and thanks for many reasons. First, to be invited to share this moment, and to all of you that you project this vision, that you make this project possible. I think it's very urgent, very necessary, and there was a pilot point, miles that has been reached until now, and hopefully with so many other consequences and options in the future. I had the fortune to participate to two different moments in presence in the distance between 5 months, one in December and the other in April. And during this period, this lapse of time, I had the possibility of sediment what I learned, to metabolize what I listen and experiment in the first meeting. So the second workshop was a confirmation, a refreshment, and again a new learning. I come from semiotics and art, so I love languages. 360 degrees and more of languages, and I use a lot the semiotics, do the words. The words itself, they are so meaningful. We need the common verbal language, but sometimes these words become tight. Too tight to express, too tight to deep an argument, too not enough to explore all the range of possibility of meaning of the same word. As we know, these words, they vehiculate some message, but something else is needed. That's why there is the non-verbal language. That's why there are so many other possibility of exploring with languages itself, and we had this possibility during our workshop to talk, to explore the words in other terms as a sound, and to work with the language of theater, of course, that is spreading in all this synesthesis somehow. Is join all the senses together in one situated space. That was our workspace, and we got, of course, some tools, a method to work with the oppression, with the problems, and to develop somehow to go deep in the...
At the final online conference, the journey returned to a shared screen, but not to its starting point. The questions had traveled through bodies, sounds, scene and communities. Experiences had become a resource, and participants had shown that inclusion grows where people can speak, sound, move, listen, and be recognized.
Yes, so artists as agents of change, the role of actors, musicians, cultural workers as adult educators and promoters of social inclusion. We can go on with the slide 1. In the report on the state of the cultural creative industries in Europe by GESAC, one of the highlighted challenges is the use of cultural creative industries and the multiplied power of their millions of individuals and collective talents as a major accelerator of social, societal, and environmental transition in Europe. So they point out this role as essential, the role of artists, creative industries.
Hi, I'm Teresa Dello Monaco, and I've been working in the music field and in the field of listening research for many, many years. And I've always noticed how vast and powerful is the transversality of it. We need listening in any area of life and of work. And certainly we need listening skills in the theater of the oppressed, where you have to listen to the others and to yourself and to the collective urge and needs and impulses and aspirations.
Sono Roberto Mazzini della cooperativa Jolly, ho collaborato nel progetto TheoMusic facendo la conduzione di 2 importanti training, il primo a Roma e il secondo a Limassol a Cipro, per integrare 3 metodologie, quindi il teatro degli oppressi da un lato, il deep listening e l'improvvisazione musicale radicale. Questo approccio, diciamo, questa integrazione di 3 approcci diversi non è nuovissima nel teatro dell'oppresso, almeno in generale, se parliamo in generale del rapporto tra musica e teatro dell'oppresso. È specifico invece questi 2 approcci musicali particolari che sono stati sperimentati. Quindi non c'è tanto un nuovo campo di ricerca in generale, perché ricordo che c'è un gruppo teatrale in Germania condotto da Barbara Santos e Till Baumann. Till Baumann è un musicista, è anche attore e conduttore di teatro dell'oppresso, ha sviluppato insieme al gruppo una grande ricerca attorno alla musica inserita negli spettacoli di teatro dell'oppresso, nella preparazione degli spettacoli. E in effetti ho assistito a uno spettacolo che era tutto basato su suoni musicali e non su parole. Inoltre Boal, ricordiamoci che ha sviluppato negli ultimi anni della sua vita l'estetica degli oppressi, quindi un approccio che contempla l'utilizzo delle varie arti insieme al teatro per includerle appunto nel teatro degli oppressi nel suo cammino, e quindi musica, pittura, canto, danza, eccetera. Però questo particolare di TheoMusic, l'improvvisazione musicale radicale, il deep listening, effettivamente sono dei metodi, degli approcci specifici, nuovi, da quello che ne so. Sicuramente affascinante, ha stimolato una ricerca molto profonda. Il primo giorno a Roma del training abbiamo sviluppato il deep listening, ho intuito che poteva essere molto utile per creare gruppo, quindi nella fase 1, no, della demeccanizzazione di Augusto Boal, e però poi nel secondo giorno in particolare ho capito che anche con l'improvvisazione musicale radicale i 3 metodi insieme sarebbero stati molto potenti. E infatti a Limassol, secondo training, non abbiamo compartimentato i metodi, un giorno uno, un giorno l'altro, eccetera, ma abbiamo sviluppato subito un percorso tipico del teatro dell'oppresso, nelle varie fasi, in cui gli altri due approcci musicali venivano poi integrati. E si è visto che il deep listening funziona molto bene sia per preparare, diciamo, il gruppo e rafforzare l'empatia e l'ascolto reciproco, sia nella fase 1 che nella fase 2, che è la ricerca dei nodi. Quindi fase 1 e fase 2 col deep listening c'è una sinergia molto, molto potente. Mentre l'improvvisazione musicale radicale, oltre a funzionare appunto come demeccanizzazione, sicuramente trova il suo centro nella fase 3 e 4, quindi quando si costruisce l'embrione collettivo e poi lo si pulisce, in particolare nell'aspetto di chiarificazione dei personaggi, perché in questo aspetto l'improvvisazione musicale radicale fa evocare delle emozioni, degli stati, delle situazioni, delle atmosfere che permettono una ricerca più ampia del personaggio, una fissazione anche di alcuni elementi, tipo la creazione del canto del personaggio, che permette poi all'attore o all'attrice di immedesimarsi più rapidamente, di tenere, diciamo, il filo del personaggio con una maggior competenza, una maggior vigore, una maggiore vicinanza. Credo che Augusto Boal avrebbe apprezzato molto l'esperienza di TheoMusic e sicuramente è stato affascinante vedere come i tre metodi si possono integrare.
Grazie al progetto Theo siamo riusciti a approfondire un tema che difficilmente si riesce ad approfondire, è quello del legame tra teatro dell'oppresso, quindi un teatro sociale fatto con le persone, con il pubblico che diventa spettatore, e la musica, in particolar modo l'improvvisazione radicale, l'improvvisazione musicale radicale. Che cosa significa? Significa che attraverso il deep listening, l'ascolto profondo, i partecipanti e noi stessi, fruitori del progetto, siamo riusciti a costruire delle immagini e delle scene relative a delle tematiche che in quel momento per noi erano particolarmente significative o significative per il gruppo, per esempio il tema della discriminazione, attraverso non solo un teatro parlato, ma attraverso un teatro che mette in gioco il corpo, e questo corpo lo abbiamo accompagnato con la musica. E attraverso l'ascolto di differenti suoni proposti ai partecipanti in differenti tonalità, o proposti attraverso ritmi diversi, modalità di esecuzione diversa o attraverso dinamiche diverse, il piano, il forte, abbiamo esperito come il nostro corpo si muove attraverso l'ascolto attivo e attento del suono, risponde a questi suoni e come questi suoni si legano a queste emozioni, a queste pure dinamiche che vogliamo mettere in scena. Questo è un lavoro molto lungo che abbiamo in realtà appena iniziato a fare. Attraverso il progetto Theo abbiamo concluso una prima fase di sperimentazione da cui abbiamo ricavato un kit di esercizi che comprendono esercizi corporei, esercizi estremamente legati al teatro dell'oppresso, ma che uniscono anche sperimentazioni musicali. In particolar modo non è necessario essere musicisti per poter fare questi esercizi sonori. Sicuramente è necessario avere una comprensione, una conoscenza di che cosa è il ritmo, di che cosa sono le dinamiche, in modo tale da garantire una ricchezza di suoni ai partecipanti. Però è possibile farlo non attraverso o solo attraverso degli strumenti musicali così come li conosciamo, il violino, il pianoforte, la chitarra, il flauto, ma è possibile farlo anche attraverso degli strumenti che, per esempio, funzionali alla scena, dei pezzi di legno, delle forchette, dei pezzi di metallo, cioè ciò che la scena chiede, ciò che il personaggio, l'emozione sente utile in quel momento rappresentare col suono, noi possiamo cercare di ridarlo, ricostruirlo attraverso degli strumenti, degli oggetti, dei materiali che troviamo intorno a noi. Quindi in questo senso importante essere musicisti, nel senso di avere una conoscenza di ciò che è la musica, però non è necessario avere degli strumenti, ma possiamo appunto inventarli e metterli a disposizione dei partecipanti e della scena che verrà interpretata.
TheoMusic does not promise to remove oppression with a single exercise. It offers a way to see more clearly, listen more deeply, and rehearse change before carrying it into life. The project concludes, but the toolkit is beginning its journey. Perhaps it has reached you. The next scene is not yet written. The next sound is waiting. The next act of listening can begin.